The second reason for open access is to measure and reward the uptake, the usage, the applications, and the impact of the research output of your university researchers. This is the area of research metrics or scientometrics, which is growing now, and I hope my colleagues will also talk to you about that. In the United Kingdom, for example, all of the departments of all of the universities are ranked for their research performance, and the ranking that they get determines a great deal of a very important slice of top sliced research funding. This is research funding that goes independently of competitive research proposals, which of course the United Kingdom also funds. This research assessment RAE funding is top sliced, and it's based on an assessment of the research performance of all of these departments. Right now the assessment is done by panels, but it's soon going to change to metrics, because it turns out that metrics correlate with the outcome of the panels. The panels are very time-consuming and costly means of evaluating research, and they're highly correlated with metrics. Perhaps the most important, perhaps not the biggest, but the most important correlate with the outcome of the ranking of the research assessment exercise is citation counts. And it's exactly citation counts that open access has been shown to double. It also increases download counts and many other measures of research usage and impact. The third reason for open access is to collect and showcase a permanent record of the research output and impact of your university. When we were doing these impact studies, we asked universities for the number of articles that they generate every year, and most universities were unable to tell us because they don't have a record of these articles, and even if they knew the numbers, they didn't actually have the references for these articles, because there is currently no mechanism in most universities for collecting that information. Open access, among other things, will provide a permanent record not only of the references and the bibliographic references of every one of these research articles published every year, but the full text themselves. So at the same time as increasing their access to everybody, and at the same time as increasing their impact, they will also be providing a record which can be measured, monitored, rewarded, and showcased for every university. How can one provide open access? This is the simplest and the most important take-home message for you for this conference, and that is universities and research funders can mandate green open access self-archiving, and in fact they do. There's a growing number of universities and research funders. I think there are now 32 worldwide that have done it, and 8 or 9 more that are proposing to do it, including some very big proposals to do it. They require their research faculty to deposit all of their articles, the articles that I spoke about over here, the 2.5 million articles in the 25,000 journals, not all of them coming from one university, in their institutional repositories. That's the next question. Where should they be deposited? They should be deposited in each university's own institutional repository. These repositories, which can be created by free software, and the software I strongly recommend to you without any shame is the first and best of these free softwares that we created at Southampton. It's called ePrints. And Les Carr will answer all your questions about it, and so will Alma Swan. There are other softwares too. DSpace, which was created at MIT, which became somewhat more popular than ePrints because it had the MIT name attached to it, but in fact it was created by the very same Southampton University graduate student that created ePrints. He was subsequently poached by MIT and Hewlett-Packard to create DSpace. I still recommend ePrints because I think it's a better one, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is to take one of these free softwares and implement your repository with it right away. The softwares make all of the university institutional repositories interoperable. Practically, that means that it's as if all of them were just one big global repository. Their metadata, that is the author name, the title, the journal, the year, etc., is all tagged in the same format so that you can search them all together, you can extract things from them all together, you can treat all of these institutional repositories as if they were all one global repository. So authors should deposit their research in their own institutional repositories, but the result will be that harvesters all over the world can harvest them. Google will harvest them. There's OAIster, which is dedicated specifically to these institutional repositories. And there will be many other harvesters, including scientometric harvesters. I think Les Carr will talk to you about Sitebase, which is a harvester that can display and rank your research not just by the usual Google page rank, but by various other things such as citation counts, download counts, hub and authority scores, co-citation ranks, many other metrics that will be of interest to evaluators as well as to navigators and searchers of this literature. How do you deposit, once you have a repository, how do you deposit? It's just a matter of a few minutes of keystrokes per paper. And Les Carr has written a paper on how little it actually takes. And that's only those keystrokes that are standing between us and 100% open access. That means access to all of the 2.5 million articles that are published in the 25,000 journals. What is it that should be deposited in these open access repositories? It is the author's final peer-reviewed, revised, corrected draft. It shouldn't be, and it needn't be the publisher's PDF. What's needed for research and researchers is the peer-reviewed final draft. There should be no obstacles hoping to be able to put out the PDF. 62% of journals now have already endorsed immediate open access self-archiving, depositing in institutional repositories, but many of them only endorse depositing the postprint, that is to say the final peer-reviewed draft, and that's what should be the default option for all repositories. It's a big mistake to try to get the PDFs. That simply diminishes the number of papers that you're going to get and slows down the time when you're going to get them. When should they be deposited? They should all be deposited immediately upon acceptance for publication. The postprint is already available upon acceptance for publication. The PDF is only available later, and many publishers don't endorse the deposit of the PDF, but they do endorse the deposit of the postprint. What about copyright?